So what this is about today is machine embroidery, but it can also work into your hand embroidery or your just machine stitching if you're doing some decorative sewing on your basic sewing machine. So, lots of different stabilizers out there. Our main four is a wash away. So you can do laces. So it just rinses away. So there's nothing left when you're done. Just washes away. You can use this on a towel, on the back of a towel. You can use it as a topper on a towel, topper on fleece, topper on t-shirts, sweatshirts, and it just all washes away. So that's nice to have. Wash away is two different kinds. My favorite is the Aqua Mesh or the Aqua Magic. It's a papery based type of stabilizer. It has just tiny little holes in it, so you can tell it's different from our regular stabilizers. A lot of us have plastic feet on our embroidery machines, and there's some out there that kind of looks like saran wrap, and a lot of the feet stick on that, and that has a tendency to rip. Whereas this is like 3 to 4 layers of that one of the saran wrappy kind, so it's much more economical to use, and you don't have the ripping, the tearing, and that type of stuff. Also, if you're doing edge stitching on, if you're like doing on your serger and you're doing a blanket stitch, you have to sew it on a water soluble to pull the stitch over. And so that is also a great product for that, because then it's just easy to pull over and it won't rip out. Most of our knits need a topper. Not most of our knits, all of our knits need a topper, whether it's a sweatshirt, t-shirt, fleece, that type of product. So this also works as a great topper, and so it just rinses away when you're done. The other thing you can do with this is if you like to make the scarves with the yarns, and you want to if you just want a free motion quilt over top of it, layer this down, lay your yarns down, put another layer over top, and just free motion quilt, and then it all rinses away, so then you have freestanding ribbons, laces, yarns and stuff to make a scarf with. So it's a very, very versatile product. It's not sensitive to humidity. Some of the saran wrappy ones, if it's humid in the summer, they get kind of sticky and tacky and ugly. This one does not. You could have it sit on your counter for 5 years. It might be dusty, but it would still work. So it's not sensitive to temperature changes and humidity. Another one of my toppers that I love is a product called Stabilize It, or there's another one called Dry Cover Up. It's a vinyl. It tears off, and after class you can come up and see this. Can you see the difference in my stitching between these two letters and these? Maybe can't from there. See the background of the black? Your black fabric shows through, and the Dry Cover Up or the Stabilize It is a vinyl that you put over top, and you match it to your thread color, and that way it disguises that black from shining through. It also works great on a towel, so that when you're doing lettering and then you rinse if you put a wash away on your towel and rinse it away, then the stabilizer's gone, right? And then the little pokies from the towels can come up through the letters. This will not let it do that. So, or if you're thinking about stitching a white snowman on a black sweatshirt, and your white snowman will no longer be white, it'll be gray because of the black sweatshirt shining through. And so if you put white Dry Cover Up down, it comes in a whole bunch of colors. It disguises that black from the shadowing coming through, so then your white snowman will be white. And I had a sample here and I don't know what happened to it, so I will have it at the store. But come and look at this. This is a great product. Also, if you're machine embroidering and you happen to have a hole in a garment that you're trying to hide, this works as a great replacement for fabric too. So you can kind of hide that hole, or maybe you're trying to stitch over an old emblem on a shirt and you want to put something bigger over it, put a piece of Dry Cover Up down and you can hide that behind there. And so it's a lot of different purposes. But it's washable, it's dry cleanable, and it just tears off when you're done. The needle perforates it. When you're done, it just goes away. Great product to have. One of our newer products is called Terio Magic. It works great for our appliques, the pumpkin. Oh, let's go backwards. The pumpkin was stitched on all water soluble. It's an applique. There are 6 panels. The whole top is lace. The leaf and the little spiral is all lace. So it's just nothing but thread. And so then it just washes away. And if you don't wash this out real well, just rinse it out lightly, it stays stiff. So you can see my pumpkin is pretty stiff. But if you get it a little overzealous or you leave it in the sink too long and you go and do something else and come back, shoot, it's been there an hour, then it gets a little soft. You can spray it with the Terrio Magic, let it sit on there about 15 minutes and iron it dry, and it becomes very stiff. Or not real stiff, but stiff enough. It's great for if you're doing appliques, hand appliques, machine applique. It gives a nice clean edge to cut against. You don't get near the frame. And it's water soluble, so it rinses away. No odor to it, so if you have odor issues, you're not going to worry about that. So it just is a great product if you want just something a little bit stiffer. When we do this kind of work, this is all applique. You like that fabric just a little bit stiffer, and you maybe don't want to put a fusible down when you're appliquing because our machines just stitch around it and hold it in place. Then this works really, really well. So it's called Terrio Magic. Or if you have the cameo cutter, on the Silhouette cameo cutter or the Brother version, they are recommending that you spray this on your fabric before you put it through the cutter if you don't want to put a fusible on the back side of it. And so that keeps it nice and solid. It gives you good clean cuts, so all your little applique pieces or your squares or whatever you're cutting stays nice and crisp and clean. And again, you can wash it away. So I've got a few pieces of it stiffened up here. You can see it's just got some body to it. This is just a regular piece of batik, but you can see it's just kind of, it's got a little more body built to it. It's an awesome product, and it's not hard to use. Tearaway. Kind of, if you're a long-time sewer, you've probably heard of a tearaway stabilizer. That's one that's been one of the ones that's been out there the longest. It's basically used for our cottons. Don't like it on a knit. We go to the polymesh for the knits. So if you're doing appliques on cotton, or you're doing just some regular stitching on a cotton, like on the pillow, you can just use a tearaway. The problem with the tearaway is you do have to tear it away. And if you're doing lettering, you got to get it, it gets a little ugly or tedious to get it all gone. But it's a good, just stable product. It works well. My appliques over here, my little placemat was done with just some tearaway behind it. Comes in multiple sizes, so if you have some of the bigger hoop areas, you need some of the wider stuff. But it's just a good basic tearaway, but it's mainly used for cottons. The mesh, and it comes in different versions, different brands have different names for it, but we sell the OESD brand, it's called Polymesh. It is for our knits, for in the sweatshirts. You can see it's in my sweatshirt, can you see it there? It's a cutaway. You leave it behind. But when you wash this has been washed a couple of times. Your design still stays nice and flat. You don't get all the puckers. You've probably been to some place that you bought a sweatshirt on vacation. You get it home and you wash and it goes, and then you have to iron the crud out of it to get it all flat. The Polymesh does not do that. It just retains the integrity of your stitch out, wash after wash after wash after wash. It does come in a fusible version, which I highly recommend if you're going to do it on like a t-shirt knit, a golf shirt, that type of thing that's got softness to it. It even works well on a cotton. The mesh can go to a cotton, whereas a tearaway can't go to a knit. So if you can only afford one stabilizer in your stash, buy the mesh. It's very, very versatile. But it is a cutaway. But they do have a fusible version. I like to use that on this type of knit where it's really stretchy, slinky knits, t-shirt knits, anything that is going to stretch too much. Put that on the back and then hoop up a piece of regular Polymesh. Put your topper on and stitch it out. It will look gorgeous, wash after wash after wash after wash. And that's the key. A lot of the times we can embroider and it looks just great when you take it out of the hoop. but it doesn't look so good after you wash it. And you kind of think, what happened? What's going on? You know, that was the poor stabilization. The other thing that can cause some issues is if you have your outline, anybody have outline that doesn't line up when you're embroidering, that's poor stabilization. You just did not have it stabilized well. Every 8,000 stitches, you need another layer of stabilizer, and it kind of maxes out 35 to 40,000. And so 8,000 is kind of your golden number. So if you have a stitch design with 10,000 stitches, you need to add another layer of stabilizer, whether it's a topper, what's a floater. Floater is a piece that you would slide underneath your hoop and not necessarily put it in the hoop. You would just slide underneath. Or put a piece inside here. You don't have to necessarily hoop 2 layers of stabilizer. You can put one underneath and just float it inside of your hoop. So lots of different ways you can add that extra piece of stabilizer. So it's important to get enough stabilization in there to keep your design flat while you're stitching it. If you're starting to get puckers when you start to stitch and you've only gone a little ways, you just don't have enough stabilizer. So stop your machine, cut the bobbin thread, slide a piece underneath, whether it's a tearaway or a cutaway or something, and keep going, and it might solve your problem. So it gets to be frustrating to embroider a whole lot of stuff and have it puckered when you're done. We don't hoop knits, ever, never, ever. We don't hoop a towel. We will hoop the stabilizer and put that in the hoop. And then quite often on my machine, I've got a basting function. I can baste around my outside area and hold the fabric in place. So I don't hoop a knit, I don't hoop a towel, I don't hoop a t-shirt, sweatshirt, fleece. Gets a hoop mark on it, gets ugly real fast, real quick. This whole sweatshirt, I did not hoop one thing. I did the sleeves, the back, the front. I have stuff falling all over, don't I? Never hooped it. I hooped the stabilizer and laid my t-shirt down. I'm not a big fan of the spray. I like to baste it around my outside area, and it just holds it in place. So that I can baste my stabilizer down, my toppers down, and everything just stays put and it's happy. So just remember, don't fight hooping a towel. You'll never get it straight, and your hoops will pop, and everything gets ugly and nasty, nasty, nasty. So that's not fun either. So lots of different, let's see, what other kind of stabilizer have I got today? This is also a stabilizer. This is called Luchador. This is a product that we painted. It comes white, and we did a color wash on it, and then we stitched it. That's all we did. This is pretty heavy stitch count, large designs, but it's no other stabilizer needed. And so that was kind of a fun little project. And then if you paint it heavy enough with an acrylic paint, you can actually make fabric out of this and just make a purse or whatever. Sorry, that's kind of frightening, aren't I? Not used to the camera. So anyway, we'll just put that there. But that's Luchador. It's a Pellon product. It comes by the yard. It's not expensive. It's like $5 a yard. And it just kind of have some fun times. The candles will glow right through it if you just paint it lightly and just and have fun. So great Christmas gifts. Quick, easy, fun. Okay, so another product is Battleizer. If you're a company that sells the Hoop Sisters designs, this is the product that they sell. It's batting and stabilizer in one. And as you can see, it's pretty stable. The quilt that fell down was a Hoop Sisters quilt. This is another version of it. This was totally stitched with one layer of this in the hoop. And the fabric is laid in just like this. It's basted down and away you go. And it becomes just all separate squares of designs, and you just sew it together and get yourself a quilt. So it's called Battleizer. It comes by the yard, about 20 inches wide. And it's just a very stable product. A lot of gals like it for, thank you, Nancy, for purses, for garments. It's just because it's so light and it's so stable. Thank you very, very much for coming, ladies.